Descendants 3 ended on a very high note, and fans got more than they could ever wish for. We understand that everything could not be compressed in the movie, but there are things fans really hope to see in Descendants 3. Welcome to Riveted. And in this video, we've compiled things we wish happened in Descendants 3. Carlos and Jane kiss. Many fans shipped the relationship between Carlos and Jane, and they were glad they got a happy ending. However, a hug wasn't enough for the fans who waited for so long for the two to be official. We expected a kiss, at the very least. I mean, Mal and Ben got their fairy tale kiss. Evie and Doug also got a fairy tale smooch, and it was only fair that Carlos and Jane get their kiss. Well, Evie gave her soulmate the kiss of her life while he was asleep, so fans would have also wanted to see a kiss between the two when Doug was awake. Uma and Harry dating. While we are still talking about relationships, the other pair fans hoped would get more time together is Uma and Harry. Yes, we know that Harry has always been Team Uma, but the two never got the chance to take the relationship to the next level. Many fans were disappointed. The only thing we saw was Harry hitting on every girl and Uma rejecting him, sadly. We all noticed the chemistry, especially in the song What's My Name? There's so much the franchise never covered about Harry, like his little sister CJ, so there's a chance that he will date Uma in the future. More of Dr. Facilier. Descendants 3 introduced more people to the team, and they were all fantastic. We got the chance to see Hades in his glory, but we never got to see Dr. Facilier in action. He barely had 5 minutes on screen throughout the movie. The one thing we learned was that he was a great father to his daughter Celia, unlike the other villain parents. Well, he's one of the most iconic villains, and fans would have loved to see more of him. We understand that he was also working on the dance choreography, so it must have been hard to give him more screen time, but we really wish it was possible. Speaking of Celia, viewers would not have minded more Celia moments as well. She was a promising character, and I bet in another Descendants movie, she would probably take the lead. She was so crafty and definitely deserved more screen time. The new VKs should also have had more on-screen time, especially the twins. Sadly, Disney deleted the one scene where they showed their playful nature. A duet between Jay and Carlos. It was sad enough that Disney also deleted some of the scenes where Carlos and Jay were together, especially the one where Jay talked about his adventures and how he would miss Carlos the most. Come on, Descendants, was it too much to ask that we get a duet between the two inseparable friends? We know that Cameron had an amazing voice, and Booboo is also a musical pro, so it would have been easy to put a duet together. And can you imagine the dance moves on the song? The saddest part about this wish is that even if we ever get other spin-offs and sequels, we'll never see Cameron and Booboo do the duet. Another pair fans were really hoping would come together in a song was Maleficent and Hades, or we would at least get a face-off between the two characters. Which brings us to the next point. Maleficent should have been back. So the most powerful villain was condemned to be the lizard for the rest of her life? Really? Everyone else got their happy ending, yet Maleficent was barely mentioned in D3. D3 should have allowed her to love again, especially since Hades was also present. Then she would have asked forgiveness from Mao, and they would live happily ever after. No one badly wanted the barrier broken like Maleficent, and the moment it was broken, she wasn't even there to witness it. Well, there was also the possibility that she would be evil if she transformed to a human again, so she was probably better off as a lizard. The other parents. Oh, it's not just Maleficent we wanted to see. The other villain parents should have made at least an appearance in D3. We don't want all the other villains growing up as orphans, do we? We've always wondered why the villains in Descendants only had one parent. Well, the only person who was lucky enough to know her other parent was Mal. It was a great moment, but it was also disappointing that the other villains didn't meet their other parents. Considering D3 was the last part of the franchise, fans expected family reunions of more than just one villain. It's sad they still have to come up with theories of who their other parents are. In an interview, Cameron said that he would love to see the parents back in the movie and probably have a battle between the parents and the kids. Whoopi Goldberg voiced the Sea Witch, but it would have been great to see her in Descendants 3 with the rest of the parents. Not forgetting that the other parents were also very iconic actors in the film industry. And we know the perfect place where they all would have met. A royal wedding. Ben's proposal to Mal was one of the most beautiful things which happened in the Descendants franchise, but it was definitely not enough. Many fans were really hoping for a royal wedding. We all love the Descendants outfits, but wouldn't it have been great to see Mal in a wedding gown and the rest of her friends all dressed up for the occasion? On the bright side, fans can come up with all sorts of theories and imaginations of the wedding without ruining the set of the movie. After, the wedding's fans would have loved to see Mal's coronation as Queen of Auradon. Then the two would have beautiful babies who would play with Evie's kids and Uma's kids and probably Audrey's kids as well. It would also be great to see Belle, Beast, and the other parents as grandparents who only want to spoil their grandchildren. Also, Ben and Mal should have gotten a duet. They are like the only Disney couple without a duet, which is very disheartening. An evil Evie. Evie automatically fell into the category of villains by being the evil queen's daughter. Yes, she was among the core four, but fans never really got to see her evil side. Sofia Carson said in an interview that she wished she would have been more sinister and poison apples in Descendants 3 under a spell. Audrey did remarkably well as a villain, but do you think Evie would have been more evil? Lonnie. Lonnie was a big part of the previous Descendants movies, and fans were sad that she wasn't present in D3. There wasn't even a mention of her throughout the film. According to the books, Lonnie goes for an adventure, but most fans believe that she wasn't in D3 because the person playing the character was too busy to shoot. Okay, it may have been challenging to have her on the set, but isn't that why we have phones? I mean, Lonnie would have easily made a phone call to Jay to explain why she had to be away, right? While everyone was finding their soulmates in D3, Jay was left without a sweetheart. In a spin-off, as he goes on his adventure, he will probably look for Lonnie, and they can finally have their happy ending as well. Do you think it was the adventure he was referring to in D3? Dragon Hall. A lot of things which happen in the books and the animated series were not present in the Descendants franchise. It's definitely not the end of the story. In the books, there's a school in the Isle of the Lost called Dragon Hall, where villain kids get to learn from the mistakes made by their parents. The school, which was started by Dr. Facilier, wasn't even mentioned in D3. Well, it probably would have been weird to have the school without Dr. Facilier, who barely had time on screen. However, fans would have loved to see how the Isle of the Lost progressed without the barrier. Dude's offspring. This one didn't come up a lot, but it definitely appeared a couple of times on the requests of what should happen in Descendants 3. Most Disney projects focus on the offspring of human characters and forget to continue the lineage of the animal characters. The closest we got was Simba and Nala from The Lion King. Descendants would have made the difference if they introduced us to the offspring of the beloved dog, Dude. A cameo. Many celebrities have gone through Disney, and it would have been great to have a cameo. It's a great way to bring a franchise to a satisfying end, don't you think? It happened in High School Musical when Miley Cyrus popped up in the High School Musical 3. Since Kenny Ortega was behind HSM a decade ago, I'm sure he would have managed to pull strings again by having someone like Mandy Moore pop up as, say, Rapunzel. Who would you have loved to see as a cameo in Descendants 3? Carlos and Evie. We know that these two already had love interests in the franchise, but many fans actually wanted to see Carlos and Evie together. Carlos and Jane probably never got the fairy tale kiss because they were not truly meant for each other. Maybe he was meant for Evie. Okay, this is one of the wishes which will probably never come true even in the future. And another wish which will also probably never come true is a relationship between Harry and Mal. We understand that the two are the perfect couple in real life, and they had so much chemistry on the screen even though it wasn't intended. More Carlos moments. The biggest blow that happened to the Descendants family and all their fans was Cameron's death. Considering it was the last time fans would see him on a new project, we would have loved to see more of him on screen. The famous line, everyone is wishing that there will be a Descendants 4 movie, even if it will come after a couple of years. We all know that it can't be the same without Cameron, but it surely can't be the end of the story. We would have wished to have the famous line,
You didn't think this was the end of the story, did you?
The least Disney can do is produce sequels for the characters so that we may learn more about them. It would be pretty cool to have something like The Adventures of Jay, where we'll get to learn more about Jafar's son, who surprisingly has characteristics very similar to his archenemy Aladdin, or a sequel with the grandchildren and siblings of the characters in Descendants. Well, anything is possible with Disney, so we're not ruling out the possibility of another Descendants movie. What else would you have loved to see in Descendants 3? Let us know in the comments section below, and remember to subscribe to Riveted, because we publish amazing videos daily.